Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Emotionally unavailable.
Hello, and welcome back to Emotionally Unavailable. I'm your host, Malisa Hepner. Today will be probably a quick solo episode. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, really. I have a few things that I want to talk about, but I am on my period, so I'm more emotional. So I've been having some emotional conversations this week. We went, as you know, if you listened, we went to the Lake Eufaula, this past week and spent a few days there and got to be there for the full moon, and it was beautiful. And we discovered that we really like kayaking, so I think we're going to start doing that more often. It was really funny because I'm actually kind of scared of water and I don't like to be in deep water. And I asked once if I had a traumatic episode in water when I was a kid, because like, why am I so afraid of it? And my grandma was like, oh yeah, your mama had you at the lake and you wandered off into it and they had to grab you out before you died. So yeah. I have some water issues, and I was wearing a life jacket, obviously, but when we got out into open water, I could kind of like feel panic, and that was not a good time because it's very difficult for me to control panic in my PTSD. If you're new here, I lost a child to a synthetic opioid overdose in December, and we found him in our home, and the PTSD has been very real. So panic is like, once it starts, it's something I have kind of a hard time working through. So, but I did. But come to find out, I'm panicking for nothing because the water was like not even that deep. So once I learned that, I was in a much better spot. But anyway, we had a really good time, and it was really good to spend time with the kids, and everybody got along, and yeah, we just had fun. Oh, and if you're an Airbnb host, we fucking were so stoked about the snacks that they gave us. We ate every last one. We really did. Oh my gosh, and they had this popcorn machine, like, the real ones, and we poured the popcorn in. I got to watch that go. We watched some movies. Yeah, it was a really good time. The only thing is, so this was a lakefront property, but to get to the lakefront, there was a path that looks really unassuming when you're first on the path. And then come to find out, not unassuming, I'm in flip-flops, not hiking gear. It's the only shoes I took with me. It was a whole thing. So we actually only went to that part of the lake twice. Well, I think Brian and Charlie went a third time. Yeah, they went an extra time. But it was no joke. Climbing back up, like, we're taking breaks. We're huffing and puffing. But even Brian, who's in much better shape than the rest of the family, was struggling. So, like, I feel way better about it. But anyway, so that was really fun. It just felt really good. And we've just been trying to, like, do little micro trips. Did have an incident where we had some of Jake's friends helping us with the dogs while we were gone. And one day, like the first day, they sent us a video and stuff. And so I was like, okay, good. Dogs are good. But then the next day, nobody said anything. And the panic that was rising in me was so bad, because that's been one really big way that PTSD has shown up in my life, is constantly being afraid something's going to happen to my dogs. It's wild. But I mean, it's every morning I'm checking my husband's breathing. It's kind of a joke. It's not a joke, but like, we all have this in the house. So it's not uncommon to hear, okay, just making sure you were alive in our house. PTSD is very real. So we are working our way through that, obviously, all the time. Yeah, so I've just been more emotional. I made a post on Instagram. Well, I guess it went everywhere, but yesterday about finally washing the pile of clothes that Jake had left in my bathroom. Just to explain that to anyone listening, our master bathroom inside the closet is where our laundry room is. So that's why everybody's clothes end up in here. And that's one of the reasons my room is a giant mess. But I've actually been making progress on that. I got some really cheap new furniture off of Amazon. And we have really enjoyed being in the living room, watching movies together, playing games, Legos. Like, we've just been having a good time with that. And I've been just like cleaning to my energy levels. Energy levels are definitely better after starting my period, the PMS period, bleeding up to the full moon. That's the thing that really sucks with bleeding with the full moon, is there's so much energy already, and then just all of the hormone shifts. It's rough. I'm way less nervous about all the astrological transits that are happening, like with Jupiter in Leo and the South Node now being in Leo. I don't know if I've talked about this on the show, but let's see. So in my chart, when I was born, my North Node is in Leo and the South Node is in Aquarius. The nodes are like the nodes of fate. There's lots of ways to interpret it, but South Node is things that you're comfortable with or you're familiar with. And remember, like, just because something's familiar doesn't mean it's not toxic. So in some ways, that's like deeply ingrained patterns. And then the North Node is the things that you should be kind of moving towards to be in alignment with like your soul's true purpose or I don't know. I think we all have the same purpose to be happy here. But honestly, I think also you could look at South Node and North Node as more like shadow side, light side, even though both of them have their shadow sides in terms of like personality, programming, things like that. Anyway, so my North Node's in Leo. So that really, when you think of Leo, it's the heart of the lion. And you know how like the lion has that golden hue around it? It's also ruled by the sun. And so you can kind of tell when you're around a Leo because they're very bright. Like they just have really bright energy. They're fun. They oftentimes are celebrities, but I mean, certainly I feel meant to be on a stage. Have always felt that goal, to be sharing myself and my life. And so I don't know what that stage is going to look like. I know what I want it to look like. But like in terms of law of attachment and law of detachment and things like that, I've really been trying to understand that doesn't necessarily mean that's where the income goals that I want are going to come from, and just kind of detaching from the idea that anything I create or am engage in or am a part of needs to be the source of income. And, if you've been around here for a minute, and actually, I don't know if I've talked about it as much on here as I have on my other show, Unquiet Soul with me and Angie, but like I keep finding these old like 401k and investment accounts that have really provided so much relief over the last few months. Life has looked very different because of that, just not having to stress nonstop about how I'm going to pay for things. So anyway, it really showed me like, no, create because it's what you love. Be a magnet to the things that you love. And like by create, I even mean like podcast episodes, fun, anything like that. So my focus, if you haven't heard me say this yet, really is right now on enjoying life to the fullest and feel that being in that energy gives me more even discipline and motivation to do the more structured things that I need to be doing for my business, for my podcasts, networking, things like that. But I don't do any of those things right now with an outcome in mind. I do them because they feel good and they need to be done. But one thing that I have said this a lot, but one thing that I have learned in dealing with grief is I cannot do anything that drains my energy. And that has been my number one focus, is to do things that provide energy instead of take it away. So doing that. And one big lesson that I'm really learning is to not need applause from other people and to just stay the course and not look at downloads. I mean, they're growing, in a good, I'm seeing growth on both shows, and that's cool. I like that, but I'm trying not to let it be a source of validation for me personally, or that I am reaching my goals, just more looking for opportunities than anything. If that makes sense, I don't know. And so when downloads are down or views on social media are down, I'm trying to look at that in a neutral way, the same as I'm kind of trying to look at the wins very neutral also, which is hard because it gets exciting and you're happy to see some sort of evidence. But I think I'm being shown that I won't always see evidence, and that doesn't mean anything. And so for me particular, with my Leo moon and my North Node in Leo, I believe that I need to look for fun, be creative, let my light shine naturally and organically in the way that I like to do things, and know that there isn't evidence that I'm not receiving applause, that there's not any sort of external validation, that doesn't mean anything. And I mean, truly manifesting money the way I did, and I do believe I manifested that. It just showed me like, oh yeah, income can come from anywhere, money anyway. So I've been trying to do what they say, which is give money a job. And it's crazy because I've certainly accomplished several of the things that I hoped to with money. So just still kind of looking for that. I welcome the times when I am much more emotional. I've cried a lot more the last couple days than normal. Like normal for me. Every time I look at the picture that I posted of, hey guys, it's me. Emotionally Unavailable is produced 100% in-house by me with no team. So if this show has ever helped you and you want to give back, subscribe to the Patreon. There's several different levels with different benefits in each. Check the show notes and you can see what each tier subscription will get you. There's also lots of fun things coming down the pipeline for the Patreon subscribers. So get in early. You can get a workbook. You can buy merch. You can do any of the things, and all of that supports the show to help it keep going. Really appreciate every single one of you. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see what we continue to do together. Him yesterday, I just think, wow. Like, I'm literally never going to see him again. And I actually am grateful for that thought because there's so many times that it's hard to believe he ever existed. And I think it's all the same end. I think it's all my nervous system trying to prevent me from feeling the fact that he is literally gone and never coming back. And it is very painful whenever it's just like a gut punch when I have to really face that. But again, I welcome it so much because there's so much time, like in my, what is that first phase? The follicular phase of your cycle, that I am just kind of numb to this experience. And truly, I just welcome having feelings about Jake because, I mean, he was my baby. He is my baby. And when I'm more emotional, I feel him so much more. There's been so many things too that I'm like, oh, that was Jake. And anytime I ask him for help with something, he does. So getting beautiful little signs from him every day, like I have no doubt that he is with us, that he helps guide us. And more and more, I think that was always the plan in terms of what his soul signed up for when he came here. I mean, he was a Pisces sun, which is the last on the zodiac wheel. So, but he was a Leo rising. I love our tie. I love our Leo tie. And then he was a Libra moon and his dad's a Libra sun. So, and Libra is where my Pluto is and a lot of like soul tie placements. Anyway, so I fully believe that. But anyway, I hesitate to say it like this because I can't think of a better way, but I've just noticed a theme of resentment, kind of. And it's not, this is the first time I've talked about it because it's not, but I'm just noticing, like, for instance, my brother, who is a year older than me and schizophrenic and has been homeless on the streets for a lot of years. Today, I took his monthly allotment of Social Security to him, and he's just so rude. Like, he's texting me, hurry, things like that, and so frustrating. And honestly, those parts of him were always there. But I understand, like, he's literally in survival mode. He doesn't get to access any logic or reason or whatever. But I still find myself being resentful. And so anytime I feel resentment, I know I have to check in on my capacity and just remember, like, this is my nervous system telling me that I don't have the capacity to do this. Granted, it's just once a month, so I make myself do that, but I do always dread it. And I don't know, just like, people starting small businesses and expecting support from me, but have never and still are not supporting me. Like, don't share my stuff, don't comment, don't like, don't do any of that. And yet you're expecting that from me. It's frustrating. And it really it's very like Leo themed. Because the shadow side of Leo is very egoic. It's Leo's generally, their inner child kind of is at the front and center. And most of our inner childs are pretty, I don't know, selfish. What's crazy too is I'm an Aries rising, which is the baby of the zodiac. And so also a very selfish placement, very self first. And it's supposed to be, you're supposed to learn how to put yourself first in a non-toxic way and to tap into your highest self. And I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, I've always been wise beyond my years. And yet I have Aries and Leo in my big three and both fire signs, which makes me very impulsive. But yeah, so I've been thinking about that a lot because it's been coming up a lot. I find myself resentful of my phone ringing because phone calls from people that I know and are close to, they kind of trigger me. It's very scary. It's one of those like panic inducing things. I'd really rather a text that I will know immediately what's going on. But also, I don't know, I just feel frustrated at things, and I'm learning how to just let those feelings happen and not try to analyze them or fix them. And that is a real struggle for me because I don't want to be a person who's like agitated by others. But I mean, sometimes I am. And I think that's okay. I really do. And I talk about this so much, but I just keep relearning and reorienting to the fact that I am a human and I am allowed to have the full range of emotions afforded to us as humans without judgment from myself or anyone else. And so I'm learning always to just allow the resentment, the frustration, whatever it is. I mean, I think the part that I get confused about is that it's just letting me know what I'm experiencing and what I need at that moment. It doesn't have to mean that I hate the person or don't like them or don't love them or don't want to be in company with them. But I can find myself feeling resentful over a message too. Like it's so weird. Communication is just so weird right now. And maybe some of that's because we just come off of Mercury retrograde and I have some really prominent Mercury placements in Virgo and in Gemini, both of which are ruled by Mercury. And so I think maybe that's part of it, but I think communication is a really big theme for me. Obviously, I'm a communicator, but yeah, I really struggle with how much weight to put into reciprocity and giving myself permission to invest in relationships that I don't feel like are invested in the relationship. And not as much, not to measure or to weigh what either of us is investing, but more like if I'm constantly feeling like I'm the one carrying the weight of the relationship, I don't know. I don't like that. And that's the source of frustration. And then there's this voice that says that I shouldn't feel that way. And I don't know. I don't think that I have to feel that. I don't think that I have to feel guilty. Again, I'm working through allowing those things to naturally come up and sit. And I do believe if I would resist them less, they would go away much faster. So it's a process that I would lovingly encourage you all to get better at too, which is just interesting that I have this feeling right now. I will feel it and sit with it. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm just going to notice it, notice any sensations that come up in my body. As I'm speaking about this, I'll tell you my chest got really tight. So I'd like to notice that. And then as I continue to talk, my chest loosens. And the people that I was thinking about as I was sharing this, I don't feel that anymore. And it really is that simple. But I'm a human and I forget to do the shit all the time. The stuff I tell other people to do, the stuff I know to do. And I don't think the goal needs to be getting perfect at those things. In fact, if we didn't have feelings, it would be really tricky to continue to grow and evolve. So that's another lesson too, is just to remember for me that spirituality and learning more spiritual stuff doesn't equate to never having human experiences again. So I think otherwise you'd be in psychosis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's kind of where I've been at this week is just kind of because again, I'm constantly having to evaluate how much energy I have to do anything. And as I was cleaning, I thought, wow, Melissa, things have been a little worse than you realized because there was some real shit to clean up and I'm just slowly working through it, but it was a stark realization that my capacity is much lower, and where I've changed really is in how much I have to give to others. And I do evaluate kind of reciprocity in whether or not I'm going to give my energy to a person and experience whatever, because I have to. I really do. I have such like limited energy some days. So yeah, I think I would just echo an earlier solo episode where I said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing good actually, but I'm not fine. I think I am doing the very best a person could possibly do in this situation. And I'm grateful for the things that I'm learning, for spirituality, for the love that I have for myself. It really does help me every single day. But I also think in the idea of feeling or evaluating reciprocity, you really have to evaluate whether or not a relationship feels nourishing to you. That's really, I think, what I'm evaluating. And I do not feel nourished to not use a style of communication that I prefer. I do not feel nourished when I am effectively silenced when I'm talking about Jake. You know, if I'm talking about the court stuff, or because the court stuff seems to get to me more than other stuff. And I don't know why. I think part of it is because it's the out of the blue. I don't know to expect a communication about it. And then it's out of the blue. And it could just be timing too in terms of hormones, but it does seem to get me more. But, you know, I was talking to someone about it and they said, oh, well, I could say a lot of things, but I think you just need to cycle through this. And I'm like, I don't know what the right response would have been there, truly, because that's the thing that sucks too, is there's so much that I'm like, well, you tried, but I feel like too, I just want to feel like I can talk without somebody trying to fix me, and trying to fix me doesn't nourish me. Nourishing me at this stage really is, you know, if I say, can we hang out, making plans, doing fun stuff like I used to do. I love to hang out with my friends and get coffee and things like that. And I have plans with a friend coming up that I'm really excited about. But yeah, I think I feel nourished. Ooh, I don't want to say this out loud for some reason. I feel nourished when I feel seen, when I feel understood. But I think that's been one really key lesson in the whole, I don't have to be validated in order to be valid. Just because other people don't understand or don't see things the way I do doesn't mean I'm incorrect or I'm invalid. And that's really part of the applause thing too. So I'm just trying to really finally, I guess, for the first time in my life, learn how to validate myself. And I don't remember who I was talking to. Someone on the show that was like, you know, knowing that you have something, it may have even been a video I was watching, but knowing that you have something worth talking about and talking about it, whether you get 1 view or 2,000 views, that's tough for me. It really is. But I continue to do the things that light me up. But again, back to the nourishing thing, relationships that make me feel nourished are people who let me talk and listen and don't offer me advice if I didn't ask for any. And again, I would say, it's not the first time saying this, but if you are rushing to give someone advice in a situation, that is a tenet of being emotionally unavailable. So anyway, I feel like this whole episode's been a little bit of a bummer. I don't know. I don't want to be like super negative or anything, but that's just truly where I've been at this week, is starting my period and coping with that. And I will say I was able to get my hands on some period diapers that are bigger, because those are hard to find for my booty. And that was nice to not have to worry about ruining some Airbnb's sheets. But yeah, ladies, get you some period diapers. Anyway, school is starting back up. So good luck to all of my little fellow teachers that I know a lot of you are reporting to duty on the day this episode comes out. So I'm thinking about you. I hope you're well. I've got a education guy coming on soon. I'm really excited about that conversation. And my baby is heading into middle school. She has a middle school orientation this week, and I'm excited for that. She's not. You know, again, I made a commitment to put out a show 3 days a week. I'm sorry that today's just a little more of a tone of blah. I feel a little bit bad about that, but this is truly where I am right now. So it's important to be authentic and to let you know that, like, I'm actually having a really great day, though that it doesn't sound like it, but I can have greatness and grief at the same time. So if you have not already, please like and comment and share on whatever platform you're listening to. That just helps us get put out into a wider audience, and it will help me grow in the rankings. I'm currently top 5% of podcasts, shooting for top 3. So wherever you're listening, if you could like, comment, whatever, I would appreciate that. I appreciate all of you being here, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.
Emotionally unavailable.
All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.